everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is breaking down this latest season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we just had episode 4. But beyond episode 4, the rumor mill is on fire. So there's allegations that Dorit Kemsley was caught sneaking out of Mauricio's condo. Whether or not I believe that, I'm not sure. But it is interesting who each woman ran to or praised during this time. So before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. It is a fun and free and easy way to support me and the show, and I'd really appreciate it. So if you're watching on live, hey Darren, what's up, sweetheart? If you're watching on live, be sure to say hi in the chat box. Join us. Let's have a lively conversation. If you're watching on the replay, comment down in the comment section. I try to reply to as many as I can. So be sure to drop in, say hi, where you're listening from, and what your thoughts are. So with that, let's dive right on in. So before we dive into the episode and my thoughts on just all of the conversations that the women were having, let's quickly talk about the current affairs of it all. So the last time we had a live, I said that in my candy cane conspiracy hat, I was saying that I felt like Lisa Rinna was kind of behind the scenes, being a bit of a puppet master, like going to Dorit and being like, oh, Dorit, this is why we never liked Kyle in the first place. She's super manipulative. She's really not your friend. She's just using you and she discards you and she doesn't really need you or want you. And then going to Kyle and being like, oh, Kyle, ding dong Dorit. Ding dong Dorit, she's really not your friend. She's talking all this crap about you. She's not really there for you. She's so fake and phony. So basically playing these two women off of each other, because I think Lisa Rinna thinks that Dorit is useless. And I think that she resents Kyle, because Kyle has always had that sort of producer protected status without ever having to actually do anything on the show. And I feel like Lisa Rinna feels very burned and very bitter about the fact that she was fired after the whole Kathy Hilton Aspen Gate situation. And so I think it's very interesting that after I broke, all that down, go back and watch the last video, our last live on it. It's literally like I'm clairvoyant, you guys, or whatever it's called. But then we had the whole allegation pop out that Dorit was seen at Mauricio Umansky's, 8899 Beverly Boulevard condo, in the middle of the night, basically for like hookups. Now, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that in a second. But whether you believe that's true or not, I find it's very, very interesting that the moment that story breaks, we'll get to that in a second. Who do we have hanging out? We have Lisa Rinna, Kyle Richards, and Morgan Wade, literally the next day. So Kyle is saying all of us, oh, we can't even say her name on TV. She should not be named. I signed up for reality TV. She didn't. But yet you're calling paparazzi on yourself, because newsflash, if you guys don't know, celebrities call the paparazzi on themselves. It's called backgrid. You call the that's what they were talking about with Heather Dubrow on Orange County. Like obviously Heather called the paparazzi, but at the end of the day, like, who cares? Allegedly. Anyway, so it's called backgrid. The celebrities, they'll call backgrid, tell them where they're at. Backgrid will come, take the photos, and then they will give it to like the Daily Mail, Page 6, Reality Blurb, whatever the publication is. But essentially the celebrity or their publicist set the whole thing up. So the fact that we're now seeing Lisa Rinna and Harry Hamlin hanging out with Kyle and Morgan Wade the day after the allegations that Mauricio and Dorit were together, I think is very telling. I think it goes to my theory that I've held this entire time. I really think Lisa Rinna is behind the scenes at the core of their feud, because I don't think that Kyle and Dorit's feud is fake. I think it's tired as hell. I do. I think it's very tired. We could talk a little bit about the episode now. Them going back and forth, talking about like, oh, In 2019, you dissed me about my fashion line. 2018, you dissed me about pick a debate. Like, what? We're about to be in 2025. That was 6 years ago, and you two grown women want to sit at this table and act like that's why you're beefing in 2024. It's because of Pico de Gallo. Get the hell out of here! It's nonsense. These two either need to acknowledge the real reason why they're fighting, Mauricio, or they can just be honest and be like, our friendship was transactional. That transactional friendship is no longer lucrative for either one of us. We never really liked each other in the first place. Let's just call it a day. Because when you have a friendship like this and you're going back to 2019 talking about something, you've held a grudge for the last 6 years, you're not friends. That's not a friendship. Not at all. I'll talk a little bit more about it when I talk a little bit more about the episode, but let me finish with the Lisa Rinna of it all. I know, I got a little tangent. So, after the whole that comes out, we see Kyle and Lisa Rinna and Morgan. Then, same day or the next day, all of a sudden, we have an article in British Vogue coming out with Dorit singing Lisa Rinna's praise. Oh, she was the one who convinced me to come back to the show. You know, she was the one who really got me through everything. Isn't it ironic? Is it a coincidence that the moment these rumors are heating up about Dorit and Mauricio, both of these women publicly have a praise or align themselves with Lisa Rinna? Isn't that, I don't know, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it kind of gives validity to what I was saying last week, where I think Lisa Rinna is the one who's playing these women against each other. Because I do think their fight and feud is real. I think it's tired. I think it's annoying. I think it's boring at this point. Like, there's only so many scenes where I can see Dorit saying, I don't give an F and shut up, Kyle, before I'm like, okay, we got it. Enough. Like, I can't go into another episode of this show of Dorit just being unhinged. Like, I get it, you know, vile Kyle, goodbye Kyle. I've been on that train too. So I'm not being hypocritical. I'm not having amnesia. I have been right there with it. But I don't think that Dorit is the person to carry this torch against Kyle when Dorit has been just as dirty and grimy as Kyle has been. Coasting the entire seasons, not really giving anything, having no storyline or personality. She did Lisa Vanderpump just as dirty as Kyle did. She just, you know, threw the rocks and hit her hands, but she was a part of Full Fox 5. She knew what Lisa Vanderpump was going through, and she still decided the whole puppy gate was about Dorit and her dog, you know? So I don't know. I just kind of feel like there's a fly in the milk, and that fly is called Lisa Rinna. I don't think it's a coincidence that both of these women have now publicly praised and aligned themselves with Lisa right after all of this stuff happened. Just kind of how I feel. Now let's talk a little bit more. Oh, okay. Before we talk a little bit more about the episode, let's talk about the, you know, current conversation about, was Dorit seen, you know, fleeing or, you know, sneaking out of Mauricio's condo? I personally do not believe this story. I'll tell you why. The photo that they're floating around, which is this photo right here, this is a screenshot. And again, it says back. I don't know why it says backgrid on it. Oh, because it's the paparazzi. That's right. So this is a screenshot of, or a grainy photo, whichever one it is. But this is from when Dorit had her now infamous smoking scene on the show. From that day, she's wearing the same, she has the same exact nails, same exact hairdo, same exact sunglasses. So either the day she was shooting for Bravo and having the paparazzi follow her, she just so happened to be leaving Mauricio's place at the same time. That doesn't make any sense. So the fact that this photo was being used to be like, this is Dorit seen sneaking out of the house, to me, doesn't give it any credibility because this is clearly from the show. Also, when it comes to Dorit and Mauricio and the affair rumors, where I land is I actually think that Dorit would be willing to like bet it all on Mauricio. I think if Mauricio wanted her, she would, at this point, I don't give an F, and she would take it. I think she would be with him. I think she would go hook, line, and sinker, PK who, Kyle what. But I don't think Mauricio wants Dorit. I think Mauricio wants to be the bachelor he's being. He's dating his 33-year-old influencer model girlfriend. He's out here dipping it and doing it. He's skiing in Aspen. He's hooking up with women. He's partying with the guys. He has his own bachelor pad, bought the furniture and everything. I think that Mauricio is just living his life. And I don't think that Mauricio ever thought of Dorit in that way. But I think Dorit 1,000% was sexually attracted to Mauricio. And not that I'm trying to let Mauricio off the hook, because I'm not. I just think he's kind of like a stoner guy, kind of like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, huh? Like, I don't even think he picked up on the cues of how she was flirting with him. Like when they were flirting at the dinner over like, I got the chicken Mo, and how she like was smelling him, and when she kissed him on the shoulder and everything. I think Mauricio is the type of guy who his whole life he's probably had female attention. So I don't even think he really thought anything of it. But if I'm Kyle, I'm not rocking with Dorit ever in life again. Absolutely not. No chance. No chance. So that's kind of what I think is going on with Kyle, Mauricio, Dorit, and PK. I think Kyle, in her gut, in her core, knows that Dorit would bust it open for Mauricio. But I don't think Mauricio wants Dorit. So I don't really buy the whole her sneaking out of that situation, if that makes any sense. Okay. Now let's go back and talk a little bit more about the episode itself. Okay. Let's see where I landed on this. I'll go down and talk about each person. I'll start with Erica. Now, when it comes to Erica, I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm checking all of the Tom Girardi stuff at the door when I'm watching the show now, just so I can enjoy it. Because if I think about Tom Girardi, if I think about the victims, I'm going to be mad all over again. I'm not going to be able to enjoy the show. So I just have to check that at the door. With Erica, when she said that she wasn't trying to pit Kyle and Dorit against each other or play both sides, I don't know if she said it on the episode or if she saw it or if she said it on the after show, but I believe her. I don't know why, but I like Erica this season. I do. I like her. I think she's being honest about that. I think her and Garcelle and Sutton are a vibe. I think she's trying to be a friend to Dorit and Kyle, but I actually think she's probably a little bit more on Kyle's side. That's just like the feeling I'm getting. I also think she's more on Kyle's side because she's also on Garcelle's side when it comes to Garcelle versus Dorit. I think it's pretty obvious that she sides with Garcelle. I don't think she'll ever be that honest with Dorit about it, but the body language, the way they look, the certain comments, I think Erica likes Dorit, but I think she also understands the qualms that people have with Dorit, if that makes sense. But I'm liking Erica. Like, is she super interesting? Does she really have a storyline? Not so much, but for whatever reason, she's vibing and she's good. Now, when it comes to her getting the Porsche and still trying to act like she's so poor and, being jealous of the other women with their money, that to me is still a bunch of nonsense and she needs to knock it off, especially with everything her husband and she did, in my opinion. She spent the money, used the money of the victim monies. That's still whack as hell to me. But I'm just going to check that at the door so I can stomach watching her. So I kind of like her in that sense. Now, Ding Dong Dorit. Maybe this is just me, and I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Hey, Darren. Hey, Holly. You guys say hi in the chat box. Let's chat. Now, with Ding Dong Dorit, maybe it's just me, because again, I know I have the unpopular opinion where I'm more Team Kyle than I am Team Dorit in their particular fight, but I'm kind of getting fatigued on this activated, on fire Dorit. Like, is every single episode, is every single scene just going to be Dorit yelling at people, telling them to shut the F up, and it's her turn to talk, and she's fed up, and she's not taking it anymore? Like, okay, like we're 4 episodes in, and that has been her speed the entire time. It's kind of getting to the point where it's like you're turning into a Tamra, you're turning into a Lisa Rinna, like you're turning into a Mia, like you're just turning into the negative, fight, swear, just too. It's getting to be a little bit too much. It was kind of cute for a second. She was activated. She was telling Kyle, putting her in her place, but it kind of needs to push back a little bit now, where it's like, okay, now we need to get to some other place. But Dorit, in my opinion, I think she's actually a bigger snake than Kyle is. I do think that Kyle has been a snake, especially when it comes to her sisters, when it comes to LVP, when it comes to Yolanda. But Kyle has been more of an out there snake, whereas Dorit has been more of a she's a snake, but she's acting like she's not. Just kind of coasting and getting by, being part of the faux Fox 5, but not really getting her hands dirty. Do you know what I mean? And then in this episode, this was chilling to me. And I think any person, but especially female friendships, when Dorit said, and did not blink an eye or skip a beat, said, "Oh, Teddy is my friend, but we're not close." That to me was chilling. That to me is the type of girl who will smile on your face and stab you in your back and not think twice about it. How are you going to say Teddy's your friend, but you're not close? It reminds me of when Dorit said a couple of finales ago, right after Aspengate, that season, where she looked at the whole group when Erica and Lisa Rinna left. This was right before Lisa Rinna got fired. When Erica and Lisa Rinna left, and it was still Kyle, Kathy, Garcelle, Sutton, or whatever at the party, and Dorit says, "I know that the two of them are close." And she was talking about Erica and Lisa. And she goes, "And I know that you guys are close." And she's talking about Garcelle and Sutton. And she's like, "But I'm on my own island." Right then and there, I was like, Dorit is for no one but herself. She's not even for the streets. She's for herself, and that is it. When she said we're friends, but we're not close, that is some cutthroat. That just tells you exactly who Dorit is. She's nobody's friend, and she's 100% out for self. It's crazy. And then she had the audacity to then turn around and I'm so happy Garcelle called this out. Then she had the audacity to then turn around and repost Teddy Mellencamp's dad's, video that Teddy had tagged them in. So you're friends, but you're not close, but you want the clout. You want the association. You want the halo of being friends with the Mellencamp. Not so much Teddy, but her dad, obviously. Girl, bye. Miss me with it. Miss me with it. Okay. So here we go. Let's talk about Kyle now. So Kyle. I do think that the audience is getting their pound of flesh from Kyle. That they're getting, they're getting their licks in with her, given her entire history of, as we know, stirring the pot, but not talking about her own life, telling everybody they need to tell the truth, but she's not telling the truth. We get it, LVP, all that stuff, we get it. I'm only going to talk about the actual situation between Kyle and Dorit, because that's what the show right now is currently talking about. But I do understand the history. I think for Kyle to truly, I think the fact that Kyle truly apologized and that she admitted that there are things that she needs to work on with like communication, not icing people out. Like we said last live, I think that the main issue with Kyle is she lacks emotional maturity. So that when somebody does hurt her, she like ices them out. When somebody, she will punish them, whatever the case may be. A lot of people do that who don't have the tools to problem solve or to have conflict resolution or to talk or to have those difficult conversations that they need to have. So instead of dealing with it, they avoid it. It's avoidant personality. I'm not going to deal with this. I'm just going to avoid it, which is different from creating boundaries with people, because it's okay to cut somebody off. just like Kyle said, I think it was the after show with her and Erica, she was like, well, if somebody treats you like shit, I don't think a lot of people are going to keep talking to somebody who treats them like shit. So there is a difference between icing people out, giving the silent treatment to punish them. That's actually very emotionally abusive versus creating a boundary with someone in order to protect yourself from harm or their abuse. So it's okay to cut people off that don't treat you well. But you need to, if you have a history, the way Kyle and Dorit has a history, then you need to communicate that with the person. This is what the situation, if it's safe. If it's not safe, just block them and keep it pushing and popping. But you can't have it both ways, you know? And I also think when it comes to Kyle, the biggest thing for me with another big thing with her and Dorit is personalizing the way Kyle ices her out when clearly Kyle does that to everybody because she's emotionally immature. Now, but I'm not saying it's still okay for her to do that, but I think that Dorit is reaching. I think both of these women are reaching with the reasons why they're mad at each other. It's giving very pathetic, very petty. It's giving very high school. It's giving very I never really liked you like that. So now I'm going to be very nitpicky on all of these things in order to have an issue with you and to be mad at you about it. It's getting very frenemy on both sides because both of them are talking about things that are minuscule or maybe slights, but shouldn't go this deep or from 6 years ago, So to me, it's more just like, I think that these two women just need to be honest that their friendship was always transactional. Kyle likes people who are yes people. Dorit wanted the Bravo check, but she didn't want to actually give anything. She was activated when she first got on the scene for like half of a season. And then after that, it was like Dorit went to sleep, and now all of a sudden she woke back up and giving everybody the middle finger and putting Kyle in her place. So for the last 7 years, where were you? Thank you for tapping in now, but you were coasting. You were coasting. So their friendship was transactional, but now that the tides have changed and their transactional friendship is no longer lucrative or valid, now they're coming up with all of these little tit for tat stupid things to justify their fight. I do think that there is some validity in the fact that Dorit is doing the absolute most because she wants to keep her check and her diamond. And I do think that there is some validity that Kyle needs to grow up a bit and mature a little bit. And when she has conflict with people, actually have honest conversations with them and not punish them through silence. Because that's also very immature and also very hurtful. But I also think Dorit is milking it a little bit too much, if that makes sense. So I think that both of these women are milking it a bit, are being very petty. And I'm personally tired. I think at this point it's a little played. I think the first 3 episodes, cool. She's activated, they're going at it. Kyle's getting it, cool. But this cannot be sustained for like 18 episodes. Do you know what I mean? So something's gotta give. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, Garcelle. Okay. I'm loving, and I want to know what you guys think about this. I'm loving the Garcelle and Kyle friendship of it all. A friendship I did not see coming, nor did I know that I needed until now. Like, I kind of like how they're getting closer and talking more, like when they were on the boat. And it's actually very funny. Well, not funny, but like, my little theory is always coming true. So last year, if you have been a candy cane since last year, I said that when it came, my biggest note to Garcelle was, we see you as a mom and we see you as Garcelle, the producer, the actress, the businesswoman, but we're missing Garcelle, the woman. We're missing, who is Garcelle? That was my biggest note to Garcelle last season. So I think it's very telling and affirming that I was onto something when literally this episode, when she's talking to Kyle, and it's a very vulnerable and raw and real conversation. And I love to see Garcelle opening up. And I love that it was to Kyle because I think that both of these women are going through the same exact thing at the same time. And she's like, I know myself as a mom. I'm about to be an empty nester. The boys are about to go off to college. I'm like, my career is booming. It's on fire, but I'm not sure who I am. Who am I as a woman? What is my identity outside of mom, entrepreneur, boss babe, whatever. And when she said that, I was like, yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying that I wanted to see from Garcelle. And so I think it's very telling that that's what she was saying, that she also wanted from herself. And I think that it's going to be very satisfying to watch because I love Garcelle. I do. I'll be transparent. I love her. I think it's going to be very satisfying to watch her come into her own as Garcelle, as her own woman, as her own self, that's not defined by her kids. That's not defined by her cheating ex-husband. That's not defined by external accolades of producing and acting, which are all amazing things, but it's not the essence of your worth and value as a human. And it's not a measure of your worth and value as a woman. And I think that's what she's really talking about. What is my life going to look like now? Is it with a partner? Is it not with a partner? Like, who am I? And I think it's going to be very satisfying and interesting and rewarding to watch her on that journey. So I hope she keeps being vulnerable. I hope she keeps sharing. I hope she keeps exploring because I think a lot of people can relate to that where it's like, well, I have my job, I have this, I have that, but I'm not really sure who I am. These titles are great. These roles I play are great, but who am I? And that was one core piece that I said last year. I really wanted to Garcelle to play into more and to see. So I'm excited for that. Very excited for that because I do love Garcelle. Side note, I've been seeing a lot of chatter on social media. They're like, oh, this isn't going to be a good season for Garcelle. She has to stop hating on Dorit. Oh, Garcelle is just so mad because Dorit and Bozoma get along because she can no longer play the race card and say Dorit is racist. Those nonsense people need to knock it off. Knock it off. Number one, Garcelle is going to have and is having a great season. Ding Dong Dorit, even though she's getting a halo effect because she's going after Vile Kyle, is still Ding Dong Dorit, especially when it comes against Garcelle. Girl, bye. And also, just because Dorit has a black friend doesn't mean that she still doesn't have very, I'm not going to say racist, but I would say very bigoted, very small-minded, very, just ignorant, views and ideas and attitudes and aggressives towards people. Like when Garcelle said, I still don't feel safe talking about my children in this group after her son literally was bullied online, was cyberbullied. It was disgusting. And so she was like, I don't know if I feel safe bringing my child into this environment with you women, when the implication was one of the women or multiple women in that group either did it or had a hand in her child being bullied. And then Dorit goes, I'm hurt that you said you were hurt. Dorit, are you crazy? And she wasn't even talking to Dorit. She wasn't even talking to her. She was just saying in general. So there's things like, you know what I mean? There's things like that. So those people on social media, I think they need to relax and they need to go touch some grass. They need to leave our Garcelle alone. And yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. Okay. Now let's talk about Sutton. Now, okay. This is where I feel on this. When it comes to Sutton, I actually think and I want to know what you guys think about this too. I actually think that the more interesting feud is between Sutton and Dorit. Because to me, the Kyle and Dorit feud, it's boring. It's over to me. Like, you're two little girls, fighting over who gets to swing first in the playground. Like, Kyle and Dorit can both kick rocks, in my opinion. Like, knock it off, ladies. But Sutton and Dorit, I think that is actually the more interesting feud. because these two women stay fighting. They stay beefing, they stay fighting. This episode ended with them at each other's throats because, again, Ding Dong Dorit does not have listening comprehension skills. In the sprinter, she's like, Teddy, this is about Teddy, and I was explaining it to you. And she was like, got mad and activated and swearing and screaming. And everybody was like, no, like, this wasn't even about you or Teddy. Like, Sutton's point was, Erica, you're saying something under your breath to Kyle. Just share it with the entire group. Like, if we're all having a conversation, then you should feel comfortable to share, your remarks with everybody. That is what Sutton was talking about. Erica was like, no, it wasn't about Teddy. It was about what I said to Kyle. Kyle was like, that's what we're talking about. And she like pops off and goes off the deep end. And it's like, ding dong Dorit, like, I get it, you're activated. I get it, you're scared because you're trying to get some money and you need this Bravo check. Like, I get it, but like, pipe down, like, relax. But the Sutton versus Dorit feud and fight, I think, is way more interesting than Dorit and Kyle. Like, what is really at the crux of why these two women are going at it so much? Is Dorit jealous of Sutton's money? Dorit has a lot of people she's not getting along with, Garcelle and Kyle and, everybody else. So that's a little bit more understandable. But Dorit and Sutton, to me, and like they said in the episode, they gave all the flashbacks. I hadn't even realized how much these two women never got along. They were, beefing and fighting, and they've never been that close and all of this stuff. Sutton is a bit of a busybody. She did it with Erica. I have good lawyers, you're divorcing Tom, and now she's doing it with Dorit. Oh, you're getting a separation. I'll be in the courtroom with you. My son was the same age as your son going through this. So she is a little bit of a busybody. I do think her intentions are pure. Like, I don't think she's trying to be nosy or intrusive. I do think she really is trying to help, but sometimes you have to like read the room and realize, is your help being solicited or not? Because unsolicited advice or help usually never goes off well. But so I think she kind of needs to read the room a little bit more. But I think that's a way more interesting feud to dive. I might do a little bit of a deeper dive into that. I think that's way more interesting, how these two women beef. But I like Sutton. I thought she was really funny this season. I think I like her. She's fun. Her and Garcelle are always a vibe, always a time. I'm with it. Okay. Bozoma. Okay. I have a hot take on Bozoma now. A hot take. If you guys watched first let me tell you what my original take on her was, and then I'll tell you what my new hot take is. And I want to know if you guys agree or disagree. Either way is fine. My original take on Bozoma was, I really thought it was, not that I thought it was weird how close and how fast her and Dorit became friends. Like, that's fine. But it was a little off-putting for me how much Bozoma was kind of up Dorit's butt a bit. Like, very much like, oh girl, you're so cool, and yeah, like, it just seemed very like chucking and a jiving for her. Like, it just seemed like she was doing the most and like agreeing with Dorit and being like, yes, girl, yes, yeah, like just over and over again. It just seemed very performative. It seemed very not forced, but it just seemed like a lot, especially on the after show. So if you haven't watched after show, you definitely should, because that shines more of a light into their dynamic. We see it on the show, but the after show, you'll really know what I'm talking about. And so I was kind of like, I get it, you guys are fast friends, but you're kind of doing too much to be her bestie up her butt. Like, you don't have to convince Dorit to like you or whatever the case is, or just be her little yes person. Not that she was not yes person in the sense of mouthpiece, because I don't think Bozoma is her mouthpiece by any means. Not an Anna Marie by any means, but very much like a hype person for her, if that makes sense. But then I was watching the after show for this episode, and my opinion on it changed a little bit, because Bozoma was saying like, oh, I didn't know the old Dorit that everyone's talking about, but I know the Dorit right now. And this Dorit is a person who needs a lot of care. She needs to be like, she needs a lot of, love or whatever it was. And so then I was like, well, maybe Bozoma sees Dorit as a little broken, maybe a little bit of a hot mess. And that's why she's like extra nice to her, because she realizes Dorit like is a bit of a mess right now. Like the oversharing at Sutton's, like, because it is a bit of a red flag in like 2 minutes you meet someone and like, oh, by the way, my husband is a raging alcoholic and we're getting separated and he doesn't want to be with me anymore and we haven't told the kids yet and blah, 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 blah. Like that is a bit of a red flag. If I'm at a cocktail party and I meet somebody for the first time and they're telling me all of their dirty laundry and skeletons, I would be kind of like, don't you have a friend for this? Like, can I call someone? So I was like, maybe that's it. Like maybe she feels like bad for Dorit. Maybe she's giving Dorit a little bit of love, a little bit of sympathy for her. I don't know. That's just what I thought in the moment. I'll probably have a different opinion next week. So I just want to know what you guys think. What do you think about Bozoma and Dorit's friendship in general? And then also through the lens of maybe she feels a little bad for her because Dorit's kind of all over the place. Maybe she thinks she's a bit of a mess and that's why she's being so nice. I don't know. But I do like the fact that Bozoma seems to be interacting with the women on their own terms, which is good. And even though she is close to Dorit, it doesn't seem like that's necessarily affecting her from being a part of the group in total and getting to know the other women. I think she's really good in her confessionals. And all of the women are like, oh, we love Boz. She's so great. But do we think, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Like, I like Bozoma in her confessionals. I just want her to show up more in the scenes. But I'm also going to give her a lot of grace because it's probably hard to show up in those scenes when you have Kyle and Dorit talking about crap that doesn't matter and nobody cares about that happened 6 years ago. So it might be hard for Bozoma to speak up and have an opinion about these two women screaming at each other about a fashion show that nobody went to, about a restaurant that nobody ate at 6 years ago. So yeah, so I'm going to give Bozoma some grace because these two women have kind of monopolized all the episodes with them fighting over things that don't matter, nobody cares about or knows about. So it's probably harder for her to insert her opinion into those things. Like she said, she's like, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know. So I'm going to hold out more for Bozoma, and she's growing on me more. She's definitely growing on me more, but I want to know what you guys will think about this. Okay, so Kathy. Kathy's Kathy. She's fun. She's cool. She's, timeless Kathy. It is what it is. Jennifer Tilly. Am I the only one? Before I get into that side note, I love how rich Jennifer Tilly is. I just love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. She has that Simpsons money, which is probably like bonkers at this point. It's like one of the longest running television shows in like history. The syndication of it all, the merchandise of it all, the Comic-Con of it all. Oh my gosh. That money is long and strong. And I'm totally here for it. And I love how like kooky and she is, and she's fun, and she's a vibe, and she's like, I just want to eat the caviar, like stop yapping, can I get a break? I love Jennifer Tilly. I love it. But this is a side note I was gonna say. Are y'all like me? I thought Jennifer Tilly was single. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought her and Sutton were like two, super rich, divorced, kooky, eccentric, Bel Air women who are just spending oodles and oodles of millions and thousands of dollars on like trinkets and horses and cars and purses and like going to Europe and space and submarines. I don't know what the rich people do, but I totally thought she was single. But then she's like, no, I've been with my partner for 20 years. She's had a partner for 20 years? Who knew? Did you guys know this? He's like this poker player. He's like some big shot poker player guy. He's like super smart, big, like, yeah, but who knew she had a man for 20 years? Who knew? Wow. But she's smart though. She's smarter than Luann de Lesseps because she knows the moment she marries somebody, all that alimony stops. If I was Jennifer, I would have a 20-year boo too and never get married. And I would keep that Simpson money rolling in, rolling in, rolling in, rolling in. Unlike Luann, who unfortunately did not only lost alimony, but she lost her title of countess when she married Tom. So listen, unless you're marrying into even more money, and I'm not talking about being a gold digger or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. Or like, you guys know I'm not talking about that. I just mean from like a logical, taking care of yourself and looking out for yourself standpoint, not like a gold digger. I'm gonna do whatever. Like I don't mean it like that. I mean like you gotta look out for yourself and take care of yourself and make sure you can provide for yourself. And if you have children, your children too. That's what I mean. So you guys gotta be really smart because look what happened to Luann, you know? But yeah, Jennifer's smart I would keep that 20-year boot too. 100%. So yeah, you guys, let me see if I had any other notes about the season or the episode. Okay. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this, not a lot, because I know people are interested, not interested. But what do you think about the whole, and I did touch on it a little bit, but what do you think about the whole Dorit saying that her and Teddy are not close? Wasn't Teddy a part of the original Faux Fox 5? It was Lisa Rinna, Erica Jane, Kyle Richards, Dorit Kemsley, and Teddy Mellencamp. And now all of a sudden Dorit saying they weren't close. Well, you were close enough to be in a group that was dedicated to taking down LVP. You were close enough to go on trips, go to, concerts with them, with her dad, all that, this, that, and the third, but now you're not that. I don't know. To me, it just seems like a snaky, snaky move. Very snaky move. I don't know what you guys think about that. Okay. I think that was it. I think that was all of my thoughts for this episode and the season so far. But as always, I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about all of the women, all of the feuds, all of the friendships coming together, what the deals are? And are you enjoying this season? Is it enjoyable? Is it fun? Or is something missing? Is there a certain vibe check missing? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and talk. But if not, I'm going to take your candy cane questions and comments in the meantime. Hey, Darren. Darren says, hey, Candy. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, Holly says, my favorite candy. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Darren said, I'm still here. Whoop, whoop. Tiffany says, Sutton did that all her seasons. I don't mind her coming for Kyle. You don't mind Sutton coming for Kyle, or you don't mind Dorit coming for Kyle? Like, this is the thing. I get it. Like, I get that people want Kyle taken down a peg or two. I just think people forget that Dorit was just as dirty as Kyle was, especially when it came to the LVP stuff. Dorit's hand's not clean in that. So I'm just not sure if it's Dorit is the one to take Kyle down when Dorit was just as dirty, So, but let me know what you mean. Holly says she's not even for the streets, Dorito, LOL. She's not. Like, Dorit's not even for the streets. She's like just for herself. She said it. She's like, I'm on an island by myself. And she said that I might be friends, but we're not close. That right there tells you exactly the type of chick she is. She's out for self, and that's it. Now, I want to know what you guys think. Carlos King, he used to be a producer for Bravo, unlike Roa, maybe New Jersey too, I think. Anyway, he was a producer for them, and he came out and was like, oh, like, I have an insider, or I have some tea that, like, they're saying that Dorit and PK are faking their split storyline. because they needed Dorit to be like a marquee name. They needed basically what Dorit is now. She's in British Vogue. We're all talking about her every single day. There's another headline: Dorit, 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 Kyle, Kyle, Kyle. You know, she's activated. She's on fire. Team Dorit. Like, she's getting what she wanted. She definitely has a storyline. She definitely is a key player at this point in this season. The audience is more on her side than they are Kyle's side. Even though, like I said before, because remember I said I think the audience will be Team Dorit, but I think the actual cast will be Team Kyle. And that's exactly what's playing out. The audience is Team Dorit, the cast is Team Kyle. But when it comes to Dorit, she cares more about what the audience says, because we're going to be the ones to keep her around. And so Carlos King basically was saying that Dorit and PK needed the money so bad that they were willing to fake their separation for headlines. PK does say when he meets with Mauricio, you could read this a couple of different ways, but he does say, I've been taking my cues from you and Kyle's separation. You could read it just as him being like, I'm getting separated from my wife and you're my friend, so I'm taking my cues from your separation with Kyle. Or you could take it as, you and Kyle announced your separation and that pretty much, didn't break the internet, but everybody was talking about it. What are the details? What's going on? We need to know, blah, 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 blah. Anytime a couple that's been on a TV show gets divorced and it's a current show, they become the talk of the town. And they really needed that check. And the whole like, oh, he's an alcoholic storyline is basically their way of justifying the split. So who knows? Is Dorit and PK, is their separation real? Or are they doing it because they need her to keep that Bravo money coming in? And as we know, she was on the chopping block. I don't know. Were they already separated and just pretending to be married for the cameras? Well, married, but pretending to be together for the cameras? That's also one thing too, because allegedly he was living in a hotel for a very long time. He was, traveling to London all the time. So were they already split, but now they're just pretending now to have this separation because at this point, it's more salacious for them to be separated than it is advantageous for them to still be together. I don't know. Tay said, Dorit lost me when she reposted Teddy's post. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like ding dong Dorit, I'm just what I'm saying. Like, I just see right through her. I do. And like, I don't mean to be a flip-flopper when it comes to Kyle. And I'm not a flip-flopper. I'm like Lisa Vanderpump. I'm just like her when she was saying, Kyle was never a good friend. Kyle wasn't a good friend to me and she failed me and she hurt me. However, I feel bad for the situation she's in with Mauricio and the separation. So I'm just like Lisa Vanderpump. I can be multifaceted about a person where I can say, I don't agree with Kyle in these situations. And I think that she was dead wrong. However, in this situation, I see her differently. And I think because she lost her friend, her friend unalived herself, unfortunately. And then the whole stuff with Mauricio, even though I side-eyed them, I do think for Kyle, I do think she was in crisis. And I do think she was really going through something. So I can have compassion for that and still say she needs to be accountable for other stuff. So I agree with you, Tay. Dorit, when she reposted Teddy's stuff, it's like, Dorit, you're proving everybody's point. You're fake as hell. You talk about Kyle being a fair weather friend. You just got done telling the whole world that, yeah, I don't really know Teddy like that. But then you want to repost it? Girl, bye. Hey, Miss T. Hey, sweetheart. How are you? Darren Hood said, exactly, Candy. Miss T said, Dorit and Cal need to stop. Thank you. I agree 100% on that one because this is the thing. I think for the first 3 episodes, I'll even give it this episode. And it's been 4 at this point, okay? We're a quarter through the season, guys. I think that it's enough at this point. We get it. Y'all are beefing. The beef is not that juicy, and we're tired of it. I think it kinda needs to be put to bed now. I agree. Marcus says, I think Erica's agreeing with Kyle to stay on the show, but you can tell when Dorit points out things Kyle does, Erica agrees that Kyle does those things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kyle, or not Kyle, Erica does that. She will, like, I don't know if you watched the after show, but Erica and Kyle are on the after show together. And so I feel like Erica's sort of mantra with these women is, and she would say the same about you too. And she would say the same about you too. Like she'll talk to Kyle and Kyle will like give a gripe about Dorit and she's like, yeah, but she would say the same thing. And then Dorit will do it and she'll be like, yeah, but she'll say the same thing. But I do think underneath it all, I think Erica sides with Kyle a little bit more. But I agree with you. She does kind of play the fence. And you're right. She also does want to stay on the show. She wants allies. And even though Dorit is activated this season, when it comes to Kyle or Dorit, Kyle will always have more power than Dorit on the show. Even though she's not a fan favorite, she'll always still have more power. Miss T says Garcelle needs a storyline. People say that a lot. Now, do you think Garcelle's personality is enough? Do you think the fact that she will ask the questions that the viewers are thinking and says the quiet thing out loud? You know, she's really good at doing that. Do you think that's enough? And if she needs a storyline, what type of what do you want of Garcelle? Because it's like I said before, I wanted to see more of her being a woman and more of like her coming into her own identity. And like she talked about it this episode. So I hear you. Marcus says, I'm not loving the Garcelle Kyle friendship because Kyle is using her. And Kyle would not defend her the way Garcelle is defending Kyle. And she's only doing it because it's against Dorit. Yeah, I can see what you're saying about how it seems very convenient that Kyle is now leaning on Garcelle. Maybe I'm a softie. I don't know. Maybe I'm a softie this season, but I feel like giving people chances. I feel like giving people chances to like grow and we'll see. And like if you watched the Miami Fest, there was a lot of Kyle and Garcelle together. And I will say that I do agree with you on the defending part because Garcelle definitely defended Kyle more when they were on the panel than Kyle defended Garcelle. So we'll see. And it was about Dorit. So who knows? But I definitely hear you on that 100%. Tay says, you tell him, Candy. That's right, you guys. Hit the like and subscribe. Yes, yes, yes. Marcus says, I think the issue with Garcelle and Dorit is Garcelle's jabs only work if they are going back and forth. Dorit isn't doing anything to Garcelle this season, so it makes Garcelle look bad. I think the reason why, for me, I don't think it makes Garcelle look bad. But again, I do hear what you're saying because I was seeing a lot on social media being like, oh, this isn't a good season for Garcelle. Oh, she hates Dorit. Now she can't play the race car, blah, 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 blah. So I get what you're saying because I saw a lot of weirdos on social media. Not that you are. I don't mean you. I mean the people I saw. But the reason why I kind of respect Garcelle even more for that goes to the point you made before about the Kyle and Garcelle thing. Garcelle isn't being fake. She's standing 10 toes down and she's like, look, Dorit, you've systematically and repeatedly disrespected me and made me feel some type of way. And I never felt I got a genuine apology for you. So I'm not going to sit here and fake the funk with you when that's not how I feel. And I get that because I'm kind of like that too. Like I'm allergic to fakeness. Like if I like it's like that meme on or not that meme, but the sound or the whatever it's called on TikTok when the woman is like, I would rather eat a 5x7 rug than play nice with somebody who I know don't like me. That's what it is. It's like when you're a real one, it's really hard to play nice with someone that you know doesn't like you and who has repeatedly disrespected you and has repeatedly dismissed and gaslight your feelings. So I don't think it's the fact that Garcelle needs Dorit to, in the moment, be slapping her in the face. That's not really what it's about. Garcelle is saying, like, you have repeatedly shown me who you are, and I just don't rock with you. And I'm not going to sit up here and be fake and phony with you. And I think it's okay for Garcelle to give her opinion of Dorit when the whole table is having a conversation, when they brought it to the whole table. You know, at dinner, Kyle and Dorit are going at it. They're not having a private conversation that Garcelle inserts herself into. So I think that she's allowed to share her opinion on her experience with Dorit when Kyle and Dorit are talking about everything that's going on. And I actually respect Garcelle for saying it with her whole chest and saying it to the group. Sort of how, like, on the Sprinter van, that's why Sutton said to Erica, hey, I heard you say something under your breath to Kyle, but I just want everyone to say it with your whole chest to the whole group. Because just like Garcelle had the right to say how she felt to the whole group when they were talking about it, that's why Sutton said, Erica, say it to the whole group. Because Erica, too, felt some type of way about what Dorit was saying. You know, and nobody is being like, oh, Erica, coming for Dorit. You know, Dorit isn't doing anything. Like, nobody's saying that about Erica when Erica was saying, that's not what she said. I don't remember it like that. Well, now I'm going to speak for myself. You know, nobody is saying, you know, Erica is having a bad, you know, so it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you act fake and phony, then people like you're fake and phony. But then when you stand 10 toes down with, I don't rock with you like that, then all of a sudden you're bitter and you're mean and all of that stuff. So to me, I respect Garcelle more because she's not faking the funk. I don't know. That's just how I kind of saw it. Miss T says Sutton might have been a little drunk on the bus ride. Sutton be like, yeah. I haven't had a drink in over a year. I'm not sober by any means. I just like haven't drank. And so now when I see the women drinking, I'm like, I don't even know if I could smell alcohol and like stay sober. I'd probably just like keel over or something. They knock them back. Hollis Adams to the best mod on YouTube. Yes. Shout out to Miss T. I love you, sweetheart. Thank you for always holding me down. Marcus says, I think Dorit sees Sutton in her accent and her ways, and Dorit thinks she's better than her. And that's the crux of their issue, which is something Dorit would never say. That's a good theory. Marcus says, I don't like Boz from the after show. It's weird behavior, and her jabs at Sutton on the after show is weird. I agree. Because I was saying that before. I was like, with Boz, she like shucks and jives for Dorit. It's weird. And I don't know. And I don't want to step out of bounds by saying this, but it's weird the way Boz cosplays cool down black woman when she's with Dorit. Like the like, yes, girl, you could read. It's just weird to me. It just, I don't know, it's just weird. And then Dorit will be like, yes, yes, honey, yeah. It just seems, it's weird. I agree with you, Marcus. It's very weird. The only thing that I was giving a little grace for was when Boz was like, I just see a woman who needs care. Again, maybe I'm being soft right now. I'll be back to my hard candy next time. So maybe I'm just being a little soft. I was like, oh, maybe that's why she's doing it. But I agree, overall, it is weird. 1000%. The way it's like, it is weird. It's weird. Miss T says, love you, Holly. Yay! That's right, you guys. Yay, that's right. If you love this live, like. Woohoo! Holly says, Garcelle, I see what you're doing with Kyle. Exactly. Garcelle also knows what she's doing too. So I think that the friendship, I like the friendship with Kyle and Garcelle. I hope it's genuine and I want to see it grow. I think it's a sort of friendship that I never really thought about. But now that I'm seeing it, I'm kind of here for it. And again, maybe, like I said, not to keep repeating myself, but maybe I am a little bit softer right now because I do have more compassion for Kyle. I don't know what it is, but this season I have more compassion for her. So I do kind of like her with Garcelle and with Sutton and getting support. I just think that I think because last season I just really saw a woman, and even this season, who in her confessionals and some other maybe not the after show so much with this one, but I think it was in her confessionals, and she was talking about, you know, with her friend Lorene, that's the friend who took her own, who's no longer here with us. I think that's what kind of made me softer with Kyle, was seeing how broken she was. And, when she said, if Lorene hadn't been drinking, maybe she would be here. I didn't see the signs, and that's why she stopped. I think that's just why I kind of softened to her. I think empathetically, I was just kind of like, oh, something like it's fine to like kiki and throw shade and, what's the tea and all that stuff. But I think when I saw that part of her, like that's real life stuff where it's like, uh, if I had one more drink, I could not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe that's what it was. And then when Kathy, I think, felt the same way, and that's why, well, not the same way, because obviously that's her sister and I'm just a YouTuber, but you know what I mean. When Kathy talked to Sutton and was like, hey, like Kyle's really in crisis, she's going through a lot. And that's why Kathy said that's why Kathy said she was joining the season again, was to be there for Kyle, to have someone to lean on. And I think that's why Sutton really made sure to have Kyle's back. I think behind the scenes, there is probably a lot more going on with Kyle's mental health than what we saw. And so for me, I'm kind of like, I get it's bio Kyle, I get it's goodbye Kyle, but at the end of the day, the humanity in me is kind of like, I don't know, I kind of feel bad for her. Miss T says Kyle doesn't really see it for Garcelle. I This is the thing. I do like their friendship, but I also understand you guys' comments about it being a little convenient that she's now friends with Garcelle, now that she's on the outs with Dorit, and what that looks like and how she may not see it for her. I also think a lot of it is that these women are always very skeptical of each other. So there's always that little bit of, are you my friend? Are you not my friend? Are you my enemy? Are you just trying to get dirt on me? Are you serious? Can I trust this? So I always think there is that part of it too. Holly Tanner says, no, she doesn't. Missy says, Dorit will tell her ish to everyone who will listen. True. And that's another part of what Carlos King said. He was like, that's why Dorit was basically just like, telling the postman, the milkman, anybody who would listen that, PK is an alcoholic. He's an alcoholic. So there is that aspect too of, if he really was an alcoholic, would you be so forthright about it? Or is that part of, your pre-planned storyline? Because the whole alcoholism bit still doesn't make sense to me. I still understand how she says he's a full-blown alcoholic and that's why we're getting divorced. And then he says, I got sober and I got clear and that's why I want to leave her. That still doesn't make sense to me. And I still always thought it would be her leaving him. But she's saying he's the one who's checked out. He's the one who's moved out and doesn't want to be with her. So who knows? Who knows? Miss T says, I think Bo and Dorit just vibe on fashion and stuff, which made it easy to chat. Mm-hmm. And then they also, they trauma bonded too. There is that type of, immediate bond you feel with someone who, Dorit came in hot. She was like, my husband's a full-blown alcoholic. We're being separated. He's leaving me. We're not telling the kids. I don't know what's going on. Blah, 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 blah. And then Bozoma's like, oh, wow. Well, my husband had cancer, but before he had cancer, we were together for 10 years, but we were actually separated. Then he got cancer. And then because he had cancer, we got back together. I took care of him. Then he died. Like, so they both were like trauma bonding. And I think that's what brought them together in that moment. But you got to be careful trauma bonding with people. That's not good. You don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Holly says, yes, I did. Holly says she gave up. She can give tips. LOL. She's rolling with the viewers. LOL. Exactly. Marcus says they weren't close if you look back at their relationship. They never seemed to be friends. It was more so Kyle keeping them together. They didn't seem to like each other. I think behind the scenes they probably were friends. You know what I mean? Like you can't be like, "Oh, we're friends, but we're not that like Dorit and Teddy, like come on. Yeah, they were. They're part of the full Fox 5. You know, you could say, "Oh, that's my acquaintance." Acquaintances aren't that close. We're acquainted. But Dorit and Kyle and Erica and Lisa Rinna, they were a crew. They were a little crew. I think they were just sort of taken aback the way she said it too. I don't know. Holly says the only person that can take Vile Kyle down is LVP. Exactly. Yes, Holly. Like that's what I mean. Like I feel like if it was LVP versus Kyle, I would be team LVP all day long. And I would be like, you give it to her every single second. Or if it was like, Kim came back, sending all the love to Kim, and healing to Kim. If Kim came back and like put her sister in her place real quick, not because I don't want to see sisters fight. It's family. I'd rather family not fight, but it's okay if she checked her real quick, but then came back together since they're family. That would be great. But to me, I cannot get behind a Dorit Kyle takedown because I just don't take Dorit that seriously. I don't. She was a part of the mess, but I agree with Lisa Rinna. She was useless in the mess. She was a part of it, but she was useless. That's basically what Lisa Rinna called her. She coasted. She's coasted for the last 7 years, but she was still a part of all of the dirt that was going on. She used Kyle for cover. In my opinion, she talked about her like a dog to Lisa Rinna and Erica. They probably all clowned Kyle. Kyle thought she was in a better position with the girls. Kyle thought she was running the girls, but behind the scenes, the girls didn't really like Kyle. They were all manipulating each other. And so I think that that's really why I can't get behind Dorit. I'm just like, she's a joke. It's laughable. Holly says, Dorito screams fake to me. I don't believe a thing that comes out of her mouth. Exactly. That's the thing. I can't take Dorit seriously. I don't take Kyle seriously either. That's why at this point, the feud it needs to evolve. We need an and next. Like, what's good? Holly says Garcelle and Kyle are both using each other, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that they're probably using each other, and then we'll see if it can evolve into like genuineness, which I hope it does. Exactly. Holly says Garcelle just holds Ding Dong Dorit accountable 100%. Miss T says very true. Definitely using each other. Very fake, Holly. Yep. Holly says it's disgusting. That's right, you guys. If you love candy, like this live. Boop, boop. Thanks, guys. Hey, Marcus. Marcus says, I think the problem is Garcelle can say she don't rock with Dorit and keep it moving. It seems like Garcelle is actively looking for a reason to be mad at her. I don't think she's actively looking for a reason to be mad at her. I think she is mad at her. You know what I mean? And because I do see your perspective. I do see what you're saying, how Dorit will be there and then Garcelle will say like how like Dorit and Kyle were talking about, apologies, and Garcelle's like, no, I don't think you do give apologies, and things like that, where the conversation it was a group conversation with her at the table. So I get that aspect of it, but why does Garcelle have to take the high road? Why does she have to, just be over it or just not rock with her and let it go? Why? We're letting Dorit sit here and read Kyle for filth about something that happened in 2019. Dorit's talking about a stupid comment about a fashion show, and then Kyle blanked her for a couple of months from 2019. And then Dorit's claiming that she's so offended that Kyle talked about her Pico de Gallo, whatever the hell it was, Pico de Beto, whatever the hell it was, restaurant that she did a horrible job decorating from 2019. So if Dorit can sit there and read Kyle for filth, call her every name in the book but a child of God, about something that had happened 5 years ago. But all of a sudden, Garcelle is supposed to take the high road about something Dorit did and continues to do to her. That's what I mean. Like, why is there a different playbook for Garcelle? Why is it if Garcelle just says, I don't rock with you, I haven't forgiven you, you haven't made things right with me, so when I have a chance to come for your neck, I'm coming for it because I don't like you and I'm still mad at you? Why is it then all of a sudden, oh, Garcelle's not having a good season. She's so bitter. She's so mean. Oh, her hatred for Dorit. Oh, she can't play the race card anymore. What? These women are screaming and hollering about things that happened last season all of the time. They're talking about BravoCon. They're talking about the reunion. They're talking about last season. All of these women have been talking about it, about things that have pissed them off. Erica's still mad about the stuff they said about Tom Girardi 3 seasons ago. So all of these women are allowed to continue to have issues about things that happened in the past, but somehow Garcelle is not allowed to still feel some type of way about Dorit when Dorit was still saying stuff to her last season. And Garcelle and Dorit don't talk in between seasons. So they went from not being cool to probably not talking since the reunion to now going back to filming. But somehow Garcelle has to be above it all. No, thank you. Garcelle, every time you can go for Dorit's neck, you go for it. Every single time. Every single time. She's allowed to be mad. Dorit played in this woman's face when she was talking about her children. Do you think Dorit would just let it go if Garcelle played in her face about her children? Dorit is still holding a grudge against Garcelle because Garcelle brought up the fact that she had questions about the home robbery. Dorit's still holding it. Why hasn't Dorit let that go? Episode 1, when Garcelle came to the party, she spoke to Bozoma, she spoke to Dorit, she spoke to everybody when she walked in, and Dorit gave her the stink eye and was very cold to her, and then gave Bozoma a look, and Bozoma gave her a look back. Go back and rewatch episode 1 when they're at the Cirilla's party and watch the interaction between Garcelle and Dorit. Nobody said, oh my God, Dorit, let it go. Your hatred for Garcelle, oh God, Dorit, you gotta let it go. You're gonna have a bad season. Nobody said that to Dorit. But somehow Garcelle has to let everything go? No. No, it's a new day. When they go low, we go to the bowels of hell. That is the new day. But I hear you, Marcus. Miss T says soft, chewy candy. I was. I just turned into hard candy. SW says agree. Bose is too much on the after show, right? Bose is way too much on the after show. She be doing the most. And I'm like, I'm also confused as to what Dorit is thinking. Is Dorit like, yes, queen, yes? Or does she also think this is kind of weird? Or is she shocked because this is the first time in history somebody is on her side? But I agree, Bose does way too much on the after show. Chucking in a jiving. SW says, it feels like Bose was paid extra because it is so off, especially on the after show. Production were like, let's put Dorit with a black woman. I agree. And you know what? You know why also it's so weird and off-putting? It's because Bose also, this is the thing. She does way too much when it comes to Dorit, but then she's also kind of like a sourpuss. Like, I don't really see Bose laughing or being excited to be there. Like, she kind of seems like she's bothered by the whole thing. I don't know. I'm on the fence with Bose, to be honest with you. I'm kind of on the fence with her. Missy says, Garcelle does seem to be coming in hot for Dorit, and it reads a lot. Never heard this much about drinking in PK ever. Agreed, 100%. Dorit and Teddy just fight over Kyle. That doesn't make them friends. Ooh, true. Missy says, have any other ladies reached out to Bo and to get to know her besides Dorit? Well, Sutton, yes. Because the way that Bose is coming onto the show is through Sutton. And remember, it wasn't this episode, it was last episode when Bose was talking about how Sutton had her over to her house before the surrealist party to sort of like catch up on everything. And then also Dorit and Erica went to Bose's house. There was that whole scene. So Erica's doing it. We'll see what will happen, throughout everything. I'm interested to see Garcelle and Bose. Hopefully they'll be like good friends and everything. Tatum says, "That week, Dorit calls Camille a see you next Tuesday again." See, Dorit's doing too much. I hope Camille just snatches all of her edges and leaves no crumbs. Misty says, "Garcelle and Dorit will never be good again." No, they won't. Hey, guys. Oh, hey, Adam. I'm going to drop the link again if you want to come up. But there's no pressure, only if you want to. No pressure at all. Holly says, "Give me 10 minutes, Kane. I'll join you." Oh, yay. Cool. SW says, "Exactly, but Garcelle's not allowed to because we know why, different rules." Thank you, SW. Exactly, because it's like when Garcelle holds 10 toes down when it comes to Dorit, everybody wants to come after her. But all the other ladies do it, and it's cool. I agree. Miss T says, "Kyle also played with Garcelle's kids, just like Dorit." But the difference is Kyle took ownership of it. She apologized to Garcelle on camera and off camera. And then when Garcelle brought up the kid situation again, when she said that she was hurt, this was after everything had gone down. All about the laughing and the Erica, and Garcelle's cool with Erica too, because Erica also apologized and took ownership and accountability. And so after all that had happened, I forgot where they were. They were on some group trip, remember? And when Garcelle came in and she was kind of being quiet and she said, "Well, guys, I just want to talk to you." And she said, "I don't know if I feel comfortable, or safe bringing up my kids in this group." Erica was quiet. Kyle was quiet. The whole group was quiet. And you could tell that they felt embarrassed and they were understanding to her. But Dorit, who wasn't even directly involved in all of that, Dorit laughed. She laughed with PK and she laughed with Kyle. She laughed with Mauricio about everything, about the whole Erica cussing out her kid. She laughed with Erica on the couch when the whole thing went down. So she was a part of it that way. But what Garcelle really was talking about was the whole like cyberbullying and being cussed out, which was, Dorit adjacent. The reason why I think Garcelle holds something against Dorit with all of that is because Dorit then said, "Well, I'm hurt that you would say you don't feel comfortable bringing your children around me." And Garcelle was like, "Excuse me? Like, I'm having a vulnerable moment. I'm opening up to the group. You guys all say I'm not vulnerable. You guys all say I don't open up. I'm opening up. I'm being honest with you about how I feel about my kids. And instead of supporting me, you're trying to gaslight me and make yourself the victim in this situation." That was Garcelle and Dorit never really got along 100%, but to me, that was one of the biggest defining moments in the demise of their friendship. And Dorit still played victim. And Garcelle was like, "Why are you even saying anything? I was talking to the entire group." So that's the key difference between why Garcelle was able to forgive Erica and to forgive Kyle for the kid situation. They took ownership. They were contrite when she was talking about her feelings. But Dorit was basically like, narcissism 101. How dare you say you're hurt by something I did? You're hurt. Well, I'm hurt that you would even say that about me. So that's one of the biggest reasons why Garcelle didn't F with Dorit anymore versus forgiving Kyle and Erica. And this was not last season, but I think the season before, maybe. It could have been last season. It was either the last season or the season before that. There says, "Kathy's scene was good last night." Kathy's the best. I love Kathy. Adam says, "Hey, Kane, all the Canes. Hey, sweetheart." Lily Baby 26 says, "Hi, Candy. Hi." SW says, "Garcelle even gave her a hug." Thank you. Garcelle did give her a hug, and Dorit was stank as hell. But we all want to forget that. We all want to act like Garcelle is not allowed to feel some type of way. And Garcelle was very nice to her, and Dorit was the one who blanked her because Dorit was pissed at Garcelle because Garcelle was the only real one and brought up the fact of the rumors that everybody thought Dorit and PK staged their robberies for insurance money, allegedly. And that's why Dorit wasn't talking to Garcelle. I was looking forward to see Camille the MVP to confront Dorit. Me too. Matisse says, hi, Adam. SW says, yet she is stating Sutton, shake my head. Thank you. I agree. Dorit is a mess. Is a mess. Is a mess. Is a mess. Adam says, I'll be on in 3 minutes. I might be off in 3 minutes, but join tomorrow for Salt Lake City. We'll have a fun kiki tomorrow. Eileen says, I got some catching up to do. What is this about Rinna? Watch the beginning of this live. I talk more about the Rinna stuff, and then also go back and watch. I basically explain it all at the beginning of the live. I talk about Rinna. All right, you guys. Aw, hey, Adam.
Yeah. How are you?
Hey, you want to share real quick?
Yes. I just said I haven't seen the episode, but I saw this one clip online, and it was almost like it was almost like Sutton was actually in some ways kind of speaking up for Dorit's behalf, but
She was. She
but
was
Dorit.
speaking up for Dorit, but Dorit was so much in her ding-dongness, she didn't realize it.
But
Yes,
the
Holly,
thing
come up tomorrow.
is that Dorit kind of like went on this tangent, and to me, I kind of don't know why. I mean, like obviously she's jealous of such, and I mean everyone knows that. Hi, Holly. And kind of to me, I just obviously I hear what you're saying with the whole Kyle situation. Like, unless it's someone of that nature of Camille, Lisa Vanderpump, or one of her own sisters takes down Kyle, then kind of it doesn't feel that 100% sincerity. But I kind of think someone has to spell it out this season. And to me though, what is more entertaining than Dorit and Kyle going tit for tat is this preview that I just got sent a clip, and Camille's appearing next episode, and
Yeah.
I I liked her and Lisa Vanderpump. Like the difference with with the organicness of this show is that Kyle may have been the lead, but she was never the star. Camille, obviously being the ex, well, she was still the current wife at the time, but the ex-wife of Kelsey Grammer, and Lisa Vanderpump's gravitas obviously was the show. But like to me, those two, if they went up against Kyle, that would be dynamic television to kind of, because they both had issues in the
Exactly.
past. They both had issues in the past, and in, and I kind of think also the history in the length, kind of, I think something along the lines of 15, 16 years that they've at least known of each other. Um, I'm still yet to be impressed by your um what you told me about Jennifer Tilly. I'm still yet to.
Listen, Jennifer Tilly is
I,
the bee's knees. Don't
I'm
even
waiting for.
don't even get
I'm,
it twisted, Adam.
I'm
I
waiting for
love
you to
her.
send me. I'm
She's
waiting
better
for
than
you to send me.
Bozoma. Jennifer Tilly's better than Bozoma.
Is
Like,
she?
I'm sorry, but she is.
I mean, I don't even like. The thing is, as I said, we don't get it here for some reason. The after show, I don't know why. Like, it just says you live outside the United States. Sorry, no can do. But I mean, I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing more of Sashin kind of spell it out to the other women, and I kind of want to also see kind of just some scenes of Sashin with Kathy, just the two of them. Like, I think that would be just entertaining as it is.
Mm-hmm.
With Garcelle, I don't think her, and clearly, Dorit did her wrong in stuff in her past actions and what have you. I think kind of their vendetta, or whatever it is a bit old, but I want to still see that kind of season 10, as I was saying last week, that season 10, 11, 12 part of Garcelle. I thought that was funny. I thought it was kind of more entertaining. Like, obviously, she's
I think
discussing her show that or film, whatever. I think it's a TV show that she's like a thriller or something that she's doing.
no, she's
Uh,
filming 2 movies, but I
yeah,
think I think we will because I like you said, you didn't see, this episode, but in this episode, she actually touches on it. How she says, "I know I'm a great mom, I know I'm a businesswoman, but I'm not sure who I am." And I think we'll get more of that Garcelle-ness as the season goes on, as she explores that. So she's, she's being real and accountable. She's like, "Look, I have these 2 things checked off, but, like, my sense of self and identity, I don't really know." And that was the moment she
interesting.
had with Kyle on the boat that I really liked. So, yeah.
Interesting. Who in the episode stood out the most to you?
Oh, and the episode stood out the most, it was the Dorit Kyle show. Just the 2 of them going at it again. That's basically what the whole episode was just the 2 of them. "I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. This happened in 2019. I'm mad at you." But that was the whole episode. It was just them going back and forth, which is why I'm kind of at this point, I'm like, I have Dorit Kyle fatigue, where it's like we've had 4 episodes of the same exact fight over and over and over again. Where Kyle being like, "You hurt me," and Dorit being like, "I don't give an F." Like, it's been the same fight for the last 4 episodes. And that's why I'm kind of like, they need to put a pin in it. Something needs to change. Like, it can't be 20 episodes of Dorit and Kyle just having the same fight, literally about pretty much nothing. "You were mean to me at BravoCon. You were mean to me about Teddy. You were mean to me about Pico de Gallo. You were mean to me about my fashion show." Like, what? Are we not going to talk about the fact that everybody thinks Dorit and Mauricio are banging? Maybe that's why you're mad at each other? I don't know.
I kind of think that would be. I kind of think Erica would be the best person to. I know.
You should
Uh,
bring it up. Like, I
uh,
think that
uh,
would be more interesting is
uh,
if Erica was like, "Can we talk about the real elephant in the room?" You know, I would love it if Erica sat Dorit down and was like, "So, are you busting it open for Mauricio?" You know what I mean? Like, I would love that. That would be a good moment. That's because that's what these women are really fighting about. Like, what else are they
uh,
really fighting about?
we,
It's not people
I
that
mean,
got it.
I mean that is the reality, and I mean the problem is that what what I kind of fear is because Kyle is all cliquey and let me pretend every executive producer is my best friend and I fly them out on holiday and all this facade, is that they just because they give her that preferable treatment, kind of just like the Giselle Potomac, like it, it's just I kind of want, even though I didn't like this season of that just went of Orange County, I just watched the clips because I just found it boring. I kind of want kind of that Shannon kind of Bedour kind of energy, kind of like laying everything out. Does she want to discuss this stuff that's going on in her life? Probably not really, but just the realness about it. And the thing with Kyle is that even though, people like, I want her to actually just, as you said, spell the elephant out and discuss kind of what her worries are in the future if Mo actually leaves her, kind of. And because the only thing I remember seeing in the last episode with her was that she was trying to say, "Oh, my family's this, my family's that," and trying to actual protect her, but it just came across as a bit pompous and a bit kind of like, "Okay, we know you're hiding something. Just be not to be cutthroat, but I like that just real kind of lay everything out on the table." And I feel like that's what someone like Lisa Vanderpump gave us. I feel that that's what people like that kind of give you that energy. And I just think, and as I said, I know I can't see it and everyone else can see it, but the what I constantly keep hearing is that also I am a little bit disappointed. I still have high hopes, but everyone is saying that the Bozoma St. John is like cliquey with Dorit in the after show, and they kind of say
Yeah, it's
yes.
bizarre. It's bizarre and weird. But to your point about Kyle and the divorce and being real, I think that Kyle is like I stand by it. I think she's very emotionally stunted. I think that she is in denial. I think like the fact that Sutton's like, you need to file, you need to get ahead of this, like what's going on? And she's like, no, my situation's different. I think I think the reason why Kyle isn't spelling it out is because in her mind she still has hope. I don't think that she really wants to get divorced. I think she's hoping that they get back together. And I think that she feels like if she files for divorce, then it makes it all real. I don't think it's actually real to her anymore. So I think that she's in denial of the situation. And when somebody, and even Sutton said it. Remember last season when they're like, "Where's Kyle?" and she was like in denial because I don't think that Kyle has maybe now. I don't know about now, but at least what we're watching is a woman who clearly is not clear on the true state of her marriage, is not
Yes.
really clear on the true state of where Mauricio is at. She's about to have a breakdown because he bought the furniture. She's like, "Well, I thought you would stage it, but buying the furniture makes it more permanent." And he's just kind of like, "Yeah, well, when the fuck can I get out of here?" You know what I mean? Like, he's just like, "All right, Kyle, see you later," because he doesn't
Yes.
really want to have those conversations. And she's basically about to cry about it. She's talking about crying about moving her stuff into his closet and everything and what her life is going to look like. And, well, maybe we'll visit in 6 months. And I don't want to answer that question when the producers are like, will you guys get back together? So I think that we have to also meet people where they're at. And if somebody is in a place where they don't have the capacity to spell it all out because in their mind, they're not there yet, versus people like a ding dong Dorit who is clearly hiding stuff. And Kyle has done this too. I'm not saying she hasn't. But I think in this particular situation, I just don't think she's there yet. But has Kyle in the past, just like the majority of them have, not all of them, but the majority of them, have they lied and denied and deflected and not been real and not said everything? 100%. But I think each situation is different. And I think that Kyle isn't emotionally or mentally in the place to be real because she's not there yet, if that makes sense.
Yes, but in my case, then you should take a season off, because like the whole thing that everyone is discussing is literally the elephant in the room, and it's kind of almost kind of pretending it's not there, but everyone else knows it's there, and it's just it, that's kind of what is missing. The other thing is, I kind of I kind of don't understand the whole relevancy game. I mean, why are they mentioning Vinat's name? And to me, like, I know it's someone that they used to associate them with, but even though they were all part of this cliquey, weird group that Fox Force 5, whatever it was called,
Yeah.
I don't think any of them kind of cared for the Nat. I just think the Nat was Kyle's minion, just as how, I mean, Dorit kind of, you know, at the end of the day, even though she had this friendship, if you want to call that, with Kyle, I
Mhm.
kind of I kind of don't think any of them, even when Garcelle and Sutton first came onto the show in season 10, you could even tell then that other than Kyle, none of these women had that chemistry with that particular person, and they kind of just, I think they kind of were given this forcefulness kind of by Kyle to kind of be, have no choice but to associate with that one annoying individual. And Miss T, you better not do that. Don't jinx that. That's not.
I mean, I think Teddy and Lisa Rinna are working their way back to the show.
I mean, I know people don't like her, but if I could tomorrow, I would bring Lisa Rinna on the show over some of these other cast members. I mean,
Oh,
like to me, to me, as much as
not me, because
I,
Lisa Rinna's
I,
she's too mean-spirited. Like, there's too much of an evilness to her. I
to
I don't like to watch it.
to me, kind of like after the main kind of people like the Lisa Vanderpumps, the Camille Grammars, and uh, I kind of think out of all the casts, she's one of the most. In the end, I feel like what happened with Denise and Lisa Vanderpump was in many ways gross and messed up, but I especially enjoyed her prior to that season 9. From that 5, 6, 7, 8, that was that in my spare time when I I mean, but out of the current cast, how many more chances are you going to give Bosoma? Because it sounds like you so far like are confused by her, like
Ah,
because like she seems to be introduced by Sutton, but she doesn't kind of act like she's Sutton's friend. It's a bit confusing. What is?
with me with Bozoma, this is the thing. I don't it's just how I don't know why, but it's just how I feel. I always think that when someone brings you to the group, even if it's producer strategized, whatever the case may be, you don't have to kiss that person's butt or be blindly loyal, but there's something that just always rubs me the wrong way when a new housewife then shades or turns on the person. And I don't think Bozoma and Sutton have enough going on between the two of them for Bozoma to turn on her, but she does shade her because she's with Dorit. And so when Dorit shades Sutton, Bozoma shades her too. And I find that that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Um and then also sort of like Bronwyn with Lisa um and Whitney in Salt Lake City. Like the person who brought you in, whether they're your friend or not, they brought you in and then you flip on them on a dime. That just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Bozoma to me, when I look at her facial expressions, she doesn't seem like she wants to be there. Like, is she having fun? Is she happy? Is she vibing? She seems annoyed by everybody. Like even when Kathy came to her house, she's like, "Okay, do you want to come in? Like, why are you standing in my doorway?" Like I was like,
Yeah,
because you're on a freaking reality TV show and this was your call time, idiot. Like, why do you think she's standing at your doorway? Not for her health, because she's being paid and this is the call time and this is the scene. Hello. So she seems
yes.
like annoyed and like sort of like she doesn't really want to be there. She kind of rolls her eyes a little bit. And then juxtaposition to that, how far up Dorit's butt she is weird to me. You can be friends, you can trauma bond, whatever the case may be, but the way she chucks and jives, I don't know if you get that reference, but it's almost like a look it
Do you
up.
mean
I
that
don't
she's
know how explaining it.
do you mean she's just easily kind of like she goes where the wind goes type of thing? Is what we
No,
say in England, kind of like someone just goes
no,
wherever's popular
no,
and
no. She's not going where the wind blows. She's going where Dorit blows.
right.
Which is weird to me
Interesting.
because she's not going where the wind blows. It's like Dorit doesn't like Sutton, so she's shading Sutton, and she's just like all up her butt. Like it's too much. It's way too much. Remind me to send you some clips though, because I'll forget. So you have to ping me, okay? And I'll send you some so you
Yes.
can see what I mean. But like, so that's what I mean. It's like I don't know if Bozoma wants to be there. She just doesn't seem like she's having fun. Everybody seems to annoy her except for Dorit. So I I don't know.
So
And I think and I also think that she doesn't do or give enough for the ladies to say that there is something up with her. Like she's not an Anna Marie, right? Like Anna Marie, like duh,
I mean,
hit you in the face with how horrible
well,
she was. Like
I
nobody
mean,
could deny
literally,
how
I
horrible
could.
she was. But with Bozoma, she's almost like there. So everybody's like, "How's Boz?" "Oh, she's great. She's great. She's good." don't forget she's also connected. You know, she's super rich. She was with Netflix. She had a really rich husband. She, you know, runs in those circles. She goes to parties at Sutton's Red. So they're also not going to want to cross her and say anything bad about her when she hasn't really done anything. But that's my point. She doesn't really done anything. So it's like if she literally were not there, you would not know. And so to me,
Right.
that's why I'm like literally think about it. If Bozoma was not on this cast, what thing would be different? Nothing.
I mean, the only thing that I've kind of been attracted to was her Malibu house. But
I mean, her
so
house,
far,
I mean, that's the thing. No, she has the coin. She has the coin. She has the houses
But
100%.
because
But
because I don't want to be like Rob Minkoff's wife, where your house is more interesting than your personality. Like,
yeah.
because that to me, like that's what I thought of about,
Mhm.
and that's what I think about with a lot of people. It's kind of like when your house is more interesting than you, then that should
There's a
say something about
problem.
you. And so, so you're saying that the socially awkward Jennifer Tilly should have been a proper housewife then?
Yeah, I would have given Jennifer the diamond over Bozoma because I think that Jennifer gives more than Bozoma gives. I do.
I I
I
hope
think she's a
I'm
vibe, I think
still
she's fun, I think
I'm
Jennifer gives way
still
more than Bozoma gives.
I'm still waiting to see your messages of these cool moments because I can't wait to be proven for you to prove me wrong. Like,
I will, you gotta ping me though, because, like, I'm,
it's,
like, working
yeah,
through the
I
days.
mean, like yes, like what what are we like 8 hours difference? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's like
Mhm.
yeah, it's almost 4 p.m. your way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Because
yeah, yeah. See, I'm all messed up
uh,
too.
but, but I'm like to me like would you say so far this episode that you saw is the most entertaining one of the season, or like, or is there
I
no
don't
entertaining
I think
episode?
I think maybe the 2nd episode was the most entertaining.
Right,
Maybe the
interesting. Because
2nd one. Because this season, it's like, I don't know, I'm enjoying it, but there's something I think they need to not just ride this Dorit versus Kyle fight. Like, I think it's enough. It needs to be put to bed. And now they need to start doing more. Something else has got to give. But right now, I feel like we've had 4 full episodes of nothing but Dorit versus Kyle. I'm over it. They're talking about nonsense.
because because
Mhm.
uh, because
Yeah, I agree with
the,
SW because I like Bose. I hope she snaps out of it. The after show is what bothers me the most. 1,000%. Because that's what I'm saying. In the actual show, she doesn't do anything. She has some good lines in the confessional, but it's like, then show up in the scene. I get it.
because
You don't know the exact history with the women, but this is your job. Tap in. You're the marketer. You're the corporate executive. Do your research, tap in. Because
I mean
literally, if
her
you took her out of this season, you would not even know.
because the thing that stood out to me, which I mentioned to you when this trailer for this show first came out,
Mhm.
was that when we first met Sutton in the season where she was this housewife without a tagline, essentially,
Ooh,
she was she because for some reason they really wanted to discredit her because she didn't show her children. But but regardless of the point, she was in the trailer more than some of the cast members that were actually diamond holders, if you want to call it that. And and to me, when we saw this trailer, this Bosima was hardly even in it. Like you saw Sutton delivering. Um, I mean, I don't know when it's appearing, but that one scene where she's like, "You're not angry at me, you're angry at your life,"
yeah,
and
but who is she talking to?
uh, but my point is that at least that makes me feel
It's
like,
a
oh
good
wow,
one-liner,
like
yeah.
yeah. But I don't remember seeing Bosima in the trailer. Like I literally don't. as you just said right now, I'm glad you reiterated it because it kind of actually got me thinking. It's like if she was taken away, there would be no kind of inference of that's what I remember this cast member did on the show. It'd been Bosoma.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like to me, I I kind of don't know like what I what my high hopes with her was that she would be entertaining. She's got this not only money because money can only get you so much. I mean,
Mhm.
look at season 12, but
Mhm.
but but I expected with someone with a marketing background, someone who has been to so many events, um, and even like when I listened to the Stephen Bartlett in interview, and I heard already about the deep things that she's faced, being widowed and what have you.
Yeah.
I just expected we would see a lot of her already, but to me, I don't think she's someone who's going to be boring and someone who's going to go out of their way to talk about someone's esophagus or something like that. But I just wanted more kind of substance because, like, to me, it just seems, as you said, the production have focused so much on this Kyle Dorit thing because clearly Cliquey Kyle with the producers have said this will be entertaining. I don't know because, like, to me, I just feel that even I know a lot of people don't like her, and she's got her all these legal things following her. But even with Erica, the whole thing with her has kind of just been pretty silent. I mean, other than Sutton, it's just really, as you said, been focused on these two. I mean, that
Yeah.
the most interesting thing was when Sutton said last episode, "I think you need to file." Like
Yeah.
and that, kind of even just that sentence, kind of was like at least that starts something deeper. And I I don't know. I don't see any miracle, happy ever after, let's get back together moment happening. Maybe that
Maybe.
will happen, but
Yeah.
I just don't see it coming into fruition. I mean, even just the other day on TMZ was Mauricio having some party at his U condo or whatever building, and
So pathetic.
to me, I, I don't know. So far, I'm only going to give this season and this is me being kind,
A
a
6?
7, a 6.5, 7. That's just me. That's me being kind.
I'm giving it a
Like
6.
to me, I just think they need, even though Kyle's all cliquey with production, they need to kind of focus off her. I just kind of think we've seen enough, and if you're not going to be transparent about Mo, and it's going to take people like Sutton to kind of bring things up. I kind of think Sutton and maybe the others like Erica and Garcelle, them bringing the topic up can only go so much. But I kind of think with Kyle, even though she's been on the show since inception and she's cliquey with production, I kind of think enough is enough already. If you're not going to give us 100%,
Mhm.
don't, don't kind of. I know, as you said, there's the possibility she's not in the right headspace or whatever. But kind of, my favorite part is when both Garcelle and Sutton kind of ignored her rule. Her rule was to ban people from mentioning the Morgan girl's name, and both Sutton and Garcelle was just like, I'm not gonna abide by this nonsense. I'm just gonna say her name regardless. And
Right.
and to me, it was like stuff like that. Kind of, I think maybe the others obeyed her, but I kind of think stuff like Sutton and Garcelle was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna let you dictate me when I'm saying something that has no offense to you. You brought this girl on the show and you made up this whole facade. Like to,
Right.
it's just I kind of think with with Salt Lake City, even though for example, you have someone like Lisa Barlow who established the show and knew all the women. I don't think production give Lisa Barlow preferred super special treatment like you get in Potomac with Giselle and with Beverly Hills with Kyle. And I kind of think because she's in this fortunate position, not only being part of a dynasty, but but having the wealth to make these producers your friends by flying them out to your holiday
Right.
homes. I kind of think like it's kind of a bit more than just this work friendship, and it's just like people like Kyle kind of. I The reason why I think I'll get bored after this episode from what you've said, but the reason why I enjoyed Dorit going after her is because at least it was someone kind of not kind of making her scenes look nice. Her scenes kind of got a bit, they weren't all fluffy and lovey. But I think after this episode, I don't want to see the Dorit kind of Kyle
No. I mean,
thing.
it's
Like to
played. It's played. At this point, it's
but
played.
but do you know what I meant? Even though like this, it kind of is
No,
like okay,
I
these
know,
girls.
I know what you mean. I think this is the thing. I think that the collective audience needs to just realize that like Kyle has already been dethroned or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Collectively, it's been vile Kyle, goodbye Kyle. The producers made it clear she's no longer being protected. Her diamond was also up for grabs if she wasn't honest and bring it and more transparent. I don't think anybody's getting the protection they used to get. Giselle isn't. They fired her right hand Robin. They demoted her seat. This season, she's been very demure and very mindful because she knows that she could get her flute taken away. I think everybody's been put on notice. So to continue with the like Team Dorit take down Kyle, it's flat to me. You know what I mean? It's flat.
Yes.
But I agree.
It,
So
it, so
final thoughts.
do
Final
you
thoughts.
have do you have high expectations for the next episode? Is my last thing I wanted to ask. Did the episode trailer look interesting at least? Or
Yes, and I'll tell you why. The reason why I have better expectations for the next episode is because I think that the more interesting beef is not between Dorit and Kyle, but I think the more interesting beef is between Dorit and Sutton. And we left this episode with Sutton and Dorit beefing. And if Dorit is beefing with Kyle, she's beefing with Garcelle, she's beefing with Sutton. Erica tolerates her. Bozoma maybe is being paid to be nice to her. I don't know. Jennifer doesn't really talk to her. Kyle or Kathy is checked out because she doesn't care. Then maybe the problem is you. And that's what I mean.
mm,
Like the problem is Dorit. And so I'm interested to see the beef between Sutton and Dorit and that feud because their fights are actually juicy. There's actually some real meat behind it. This Kyle Dorit nonsense is played out and stupid.
interesting.
Yeah. But
So
I've been on
so
for almost 2 hours, so I'm
yeah,
tired.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've been hustling. Plus, it's going to literally turn midnight in a minute here.
Yeah. But I
The
love you and you. Yeah, go ahead.
the last the last thing I would say is I haven't seen the episode yet, but
Okay.
I probably will only give it as I said a 6.5, 7 at best from what it
Okay.
sounds like. um, I'm sure that Sutton will probably be the most entertaining person of the episode in terms of something that's not recycled and something that's fun. Um, and yeah, so glad to hear that Camille will be finally coming in some capacity. That should be
Me too.
refreshing.
And
But
again, she's beefing with who? Dorit. So clearly the problem's Dorit.
and yeah, I just hope to see fewer moments with Kyle in the future because to me, like I don't know, but
Agreed.
I'm hoped I'm still hopeful. I will give you a reminder either tomorrow
Yes, ping
or
me.
I expect to see like your Final Cut Pro thing, but you're going to send me a Jennifer Chili. I don't know.
Sounds good.
Uh, but yes, Salt Lake City, that should be interesting. And
Yeah,
regardless, don't know about the audience. The team MVP Lisa Barlow,
agreed.
because she's quite frankly the only proper real one there. but
There you go.
but um but yes, it was nice chatting with you.
You too, always.
And yes, certainly, we can only be optimistic, but as we have no control, we'll let this
Mhm.
play out.
100%. I mean, we'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see.
But anyway, it's just gone past midnight. But have a fantastic rest of your day,
I will. You too.
and probably tomorrow, or whenever you do Salt Lake City, I'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Love you.
Much love. Bye.
Bye, sweetheart. So, you guys, I've been on for 2 hours, so I'm going to go and take a break. But shout out to Adam. Thank you so much for coming up and talking with me and all the candy canes. As always, I truly appreciate you. And you're my fabulous co host. I love you. And shout out to SW. Shout out to Inflation, Miss T, my mod. I love you. Thank you for holding me down. Hey, Holly. Shout out to you. Shout out to Darren, Lily Baby 26. Shout out to Tay Tay. What's up, sweetheart? Did I miss anybody? Shout out to Tiffany. How are you? So, yes, you guys, love you so much. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll be back tomorrow for Salt Lake City. So, watch your back for Ding Dong Doritos. Watch your back for Bio Kyles. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.